that thing. I think, I think for more than one reason, I think it would be beneficial for you professionally, educationally, and if I dare say, in my opinion, I think it would be good for your good for your um, mental fitness, and staying in a good frame of mind and a good perspective in life. I think you need to travel, and I think you need kind of a change in scenery. If do you know what I mean?
Oh yes, definitely. Yeah, I totally get what you were saying.
Yeah, yeah. But by the way, to clarify, I am certainly not. I'm certainly not saying. I do not want to say, and I am not saying that you are in poor mental health. But I'm not saying that at all. What I'm saying is, I think it will be healthy for you, for your personality and development as a whole, to have a change in scenery and go to the other side of the country and just kind of, you know, catch your breath, kind of reset a little bit and kind of refocus a little bit. I've had to do it, in different times of my life. It was tough, um, but I've had to reset myself a couple of times, and when I did it, it was hard. It was kind of like having a really 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 bad cold. You feel bad for a while, but then you get better. You wake up one morning, and you feel a lot better. You go have a big cup of coffee, and you have, in my case, a nice Cliff Bar, and then you say, "Oh, I'm ready for the day." It's not perfect, but I'm I'm ready. You know?
Oh
Mm-hmm.
yes, yeah, I totally agree with
Yeah.
what you were saying.
Yeah. So, what do you think about everything, all of my points that I have said?
Hmm. Good. There.
Do you want to complain? You haven't sent in a complaint yet. This
No,
this episode this episode has been far too positive and pleasant for me.
yeah, that's that's me because I always stay on the positive side of life,
Well, there
and
you go.
this is what I said. This is what I usually say every time when I'm publishing a YouTube video. I
Right.
would usually tell my viewer to what always stay on the positive side of life.
Right. Right.
Yeah.
hmm Well, good. Good. Okay. Well, so, what are your dreams and goals from Michael's weekly perspective?
Oh, for my dreams and goals, since I hope to enhance more technology, like more modern technology that more recording devices, like an audio interface and a better microphone. Of course, I do like my current mic that I'm using.
It
It's
sounds perfect.
yeah,
Whatever it is, it sounds perfect. Yeah.
yeah,
You're just using the one on your computer, right? The built-in, right?
yeah. Actually, I have an external mic that I plugged into my computer that's what I use to do my podcast.
Oh, you do. Good. What is it?
It's a it's it doesn't have a brand. It's just a micro studio mic. Sometimes things
Okay.
does
All
that.
right, Mike. It everything in this day and age, everything's got a brand.
Well, this one doesn't.
Really? Well then how could you have possibly bought it then without knowing what it was called or a
Oh,
brand?
actually, it was a gift. It was a gift to me for my birthday this year.
I see. I see. Well, whoever it was knew what it was called.
Yeah.
So, good. Yeah, I mean that's important for me. Um, I'm trying to create one of the things that I hope to do for Aaron's opinion is I really hope to create sort of an introduction. I want this podcast to eventually have an intro with like an announcer and all that type of thing. But yeah, I don't know. You do you have like an intro? Do you have an intro to Michael's Weekly Perspective?
Oh yes, yeah. I usually play a music as in the background, and I begin to talk, and I talk about what I'm saying, what I'm going to cover during the podcast.
Right, right. Yeah, there's a particular track that I want for my intro and my outro. That would be very, very entertaining. A really upbeat little background music track
Oh yeah,
that I hear. But of course, I don't know what it's called. Um, you're in the group, the WhatsApp group. One of the other people in our group on WhatsApp, they were starting to look for it, and I don't know that she hasn't gotten back to me about what it's called. But I would love to know what that particular track is called. So
yeah. There's some royalty-free music out on the internet that you can take advantage of.
okay, so
Some
how would and
some
how would I use it though? So are they just MP3s that I could just have put into it? Is that how it would work?
Oh yes, you put that into an MP3, and then if you have a computer, you can use Audacity to set to auto duck and then record what you're saying, and then when you get to the point that you want to stop, you can just press the space, and then it's recorded, and you
Good to
can
know.
cut out the extra sound, extra
Right.
music note that you don't want you don't want to use in your podcast.
Excellent. Great, great. And so what is this website that I should go to find some of this royalty-free music?
Oh, some popular one you can find in
Well, the one
Epidemic
that you
Sound.
use. Well, the one that you use.
The one that I use is YouTube Music Library. It,
Mm.
yeah, you have to give credit to the composer of the music, and other than that, you can use it to create a video or an audio.
I see. So how would I find YouTube Music Library? How would I
Uh,
find out about?
you can just search in on Google YouTube Music Library, and then the first option should pop up, and then in the music library, you find music that you want and that you think will be a good fit for your podcast.
Hmm. Or but what was the royalty-free one called again? The website where I could just hopefully find a list of a lot of different tracks. What's that one called?
Oh, one of them is called Epidemic Sound. Some you can purchase, and some it's free. Some music is
How
free.
is it? How is it spelled? Do you know?
No,
That is fine. I
yeah.
see. Well, that is good. And I wonder if I research on YouTube, if I just type in into YouTube Music Library, I wonder if it'll come up that way.
That I haven't tried that before, but you can try and see.
Right. Well, good to know. Yes. Well, that's one of the things I want to be able to do with Aaron's opinion is to have music. I think an intro would help people to kind of recognize it a little bit better, and it would go good with the station identification and all of that.
Oh yeah,
So yeah. Hmm.
and I also hope to get a jingle for my podcast because I have hard time finding jingles.
Well, what do you mean by now? Okay, now what do you mean by a jingle?
My jingle is to have a transition tone in between.
Oh, like just like station identification. Like
Oh
when
yes.
like about a couple minutes ago where you at home just heard like the station like KCGM Bakersfield, like the voice, like that thing, right?
Oh oh yes. Yeah.
Right. Right. You didn't hear it, but when it's played into the station, they put those in. They put in the jingles to start it and then to in the middle and then at the end. They put one in there. Right.
Yeah.
So yeah, I already have. I guess I already have the jingle, um, but it's really the station. It's the station IDs. It's not my jingle. It's the stations. But
No.
yeah, I don't necessarily need my own ID. Might need my own jingle. but I do need some background music. So yeah, in really, 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 all really good. We have about 4 minutes left now. Um, what are some big final things that you would like to say?
Oh, the big final thing that I would like to say is if you have any, questions, you can call using the listener line of my podcast, which is 404-923-0115. And you can send an email if you have any questions about this particular audio show. Basically, the contact information that I would like to offer to y'all listeners.
Okay. Well, I tell you what. I would like you to do, Michael, between now and uh, well, as soon as you can or as soon as you want. If you could just type up for me what you would like me to say about that, so that I can just have KCGN, or well, not KCGN, but so that we can set it up into the abstract properly. So if you could actually, yeah, if you could type up the abstract for what you want me to say, that would be very helpful.
Oh, right.
And good. I think usually I don't ask guests to do that, but since you had a special request for people to contact you, I think that would be a very good idea.
Oh, yes. Yeah, that's what I usually do. When I'm about to end a podcast, I would first ask whether they have any advice to offer to my listeners. And at the end, I will ask, whether they have whether they have a contact information that they would like to share.
Right, right. Well, that's good. That's good. And I haven't said it in a while, but by the way, listener, you at home, if you want to contact Aaron's opinion, me, I'd be happy to hear from you. The email address is aaronsopinion6@gmail.com. Nobody has ever taken me up on this. I've never gotten even one email from a listener to the program saying, "Hey, Aaron, I loved it," or "Hey, Aaron, oh God, that episode was horrible. What are you talking about?" I've never gotten anything like that from anyone. They're also in the description of the show on Spreaker, there is a number. I do have a business number that you could call. Um, if you at home need that number, if you want to be able to talk to me, just again send an email, aaronsopinion6@gmail.com, and explain that you want that number. I would be more than happy to send it to you, but nobody has taken me up on it for some reason. Have people reached out to you on your listener line?
Nope, I just started, but I have one person actually sent me a comment after I posted the podcast link back in April, said that I need to improve my clarity and conciseness when I'm asking a person whether they have any advice about blindness. That's too vague. This is what he said.
Well, I mean, they're in a sense they're kind of right. It takes practice being a broadcaster. It takes a lot of practice, and I'm learning it too. It's
Oh,
you
yes.
have to practice. You have to ask the right questions the right way at the right time, and that's what it's really about in life. Um,
Definitely.
so it's tricky. Hmm.
Yes, it is.
Hmm. Well, I really hope that I certainly hope that at some point you'll have me on Michael's Weekly Perspective. I forget, have I actually come on your show?
Yes, that was episode 4.
Really?
Yeah, it was aired on February 29th.
Huh.
Yeah.
Well, good to know. I admit, I'm sure it was a great episode. I don't remember it at all.
Yeah. I invited you to talk about the Anchor app and how you started your podcast, Aaron Show.
Very good. Well, I want to take this time to thank you from the bottom of my heart. You did a great job today, Michael. This is Aaron's Opinion on Caroline Radio, Blind Advocate Radio. Have a good